Welcome to the Tactical Sub. Today we review my team for the third time, and it wasn't a great week once again. I scored a 12-18 and moved my rank to just over 4,000th, which is still awful. I'm going to do something different this week and start with the forward line. First up at F1 is Katie Brennan, who finally didn't score a 51. In fact, she was one of only 3 players in my team to score 85. She looked great with Sheeran back in the team, but it did take 3 first-quarter goals to get to this score. Still, you take it and there's positive signs. Hodder also scored her season high, although it wasn't exactly a huge score. The 63 is more than she's priced at, although I will still look to trade her next week. At F3, I switched my trade-in from Randall to Friswell, chasing the Carlton matchup. This cost me just under 20 points as Friswell just couldn't mark it. Tripoddy was awesome, and I'm glad I fielded her this week. Another high 60, and she could genuinely be close to the top 5 if she can keep this scoring up. Finally, I had Pauga on field for a very odd 35. I say very odd because in the last half, she scored -3. That's right, she went backwards after half-time. On the bench, I traded in Williamson kind of randomly, and a 28 wasn't too bad at all. The big positive of my forward line was that I accidentally traded Huntington out, and it was locked out. So I was kicking myself until she was a late out, and it turned out to be a gift. In the rucks, I mentioned in my trades video that I forgot to do my trades, so I was very annoyingly stuck with Edmonds for another week. The worst thing is that Poppy Kelly is killing it, and she's who I had before. Anyway, on the bench, O'Dowd was very good again, and was even better for the coaches that fielded her. The mids was a mix of good and bad. Starting with the good, Riddell made up for last week with a huge 145, which did make me quite happy even if I couldn't take the VC. Another very good player was my captain in Charlie Rowbottom. She had a 133 with a point taken off late, and the best thing was that she outscored Marinoff. Moving now into the bad, we have Conti. Conti followed up with another mid-70s score, and it could have been so much worse if not for a 32-point last quarter to save it. She's still a hold for the next 2 weeks, but will then probably go. Blackburn was also bad with an 83, but worse than that is that she may be injured. I don't know the current status, but a forced trade ahead of the double games would really suck. With the rookies, I ended up going with Window and lost another 20 points here with Goody scoring a 74. In Utility Breed had a bad score in the 30s. Moving on to the back line, Thomas was serviceable, but far from great with a 61. In fact, my whole back line was far from great. Ruby Schleicher was even worse than the last 2 weeks and may be a trade-out target in the coming weeks. Jess Hosking put up another low score, and I expect her to go next week to Sheeran after the double games. And Sinead Goldrick also didn't put up a good score. It seemed like she was going to, but her last quarter was extremely quiet as she got just 2 more points. Dinah Finn didn't back up her 77 last week and had almost 40 less this week. That can be expected though, as the wing role can be very unpredictable and scoring erratic. On the bench, possibly the worst trade-in, I spent 90,000 extra to get Hendry in over a basement pricer, and she scores in the teens. That sucked. Anyway, that's the team. Just before I look at trades, click that subscribe button and let's get 100 subscribers before the double games. So with my trades, my number 1 priority is getting a good captain for this week. That good captain is Ali Anderson, providing she doesn't get rested at all. I will likely trade Blackburn to her and then trade Breed to Fiedler. My final trade gives me a few options. I could go Edmonds down this week anyway, or maybe try to bring Bonnetty or Davey in and adjust the other trades. If you don't have Hodder or Brennan, I like the idea of bringing them in, and for the large majority of you who have Marinoff, I also very much think it would be good to trade her out and bank some cash. See you in the next one.